You are.
Hey, Sven, it's Reuben again.
Hi, Reuben!
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much, buddy. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. I'm a little illiterate with this text, so I'm glad we got it. I'm glad I figured it out enough to have this conversation and to wish you a happy birthday in live.
It's wonderful. I mean, I've missed you so much. I mean, we have spoke like 1 year ago for real, and then you were quite busy and I was busy with things, but it's so nice to speak with you again. So
yeah, likewise.
This is great. Hey, for people here in the chat that doesn't know exactly who am I talking right now, this is Reuben Langdon, and he is the voice actor of Ken Masters, the character that I play in Street Fighter, the English voice, the English Ken, and it's so wonderful to have you here, Reuben. How are you doing?
Good. It's spring is around the corner. We have the equinox tomorrow. Is it tomorrow over there? What day is it over there?
It's now the 19th, so we have the equinox on Monday, like you, I think.
On Monday. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I have the calendar here, but so yeah, just preparing for spring and getting the garden going and become quite the homebody since our worldwide craziness has been going on. So I've been growing with my wife. I've been growing vegetables, and we've got a greenhouse and solar panels, and trying to be as sustainable as possible. So that's what I've been up to, I guess.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. I mean, to be honest, that sounds something that you don't expect from an anime and video voice actor, and even a stuntman, because you were also stuntman in your career. Hey, I also saw that your wife is doing very good with her art. Maybe you would like to tell a little bit about that to the viewers, what she is doing and where they can find her.
She's a very talented artist. Her artist name is Sui Yumeshima, Suyumishima, and it's she's actually got an art show going on right now in Tokyo, an exhibit. And it's going to be going until the 27th. So if anybody, I know most foreigners probably aren't going to be in Japan because they still got the restrictions, and they're not allowing foreigners in unless you're on some kind of special visa. So even I couldn't go back to visit my wife, my wife's artwork. She's here. She also hasn't gone back because of the restrictions. They've lessened their quarantine. It's down to a 3-day thing for Japanese nationals, but they still have to quarantine in a hotel designated by the authorities, which you have to pay for, which is just a lot of extra cost and rigmarole and just goofiness that neither she or I want to deal with right now. So
I can imagine.
We're sitting that one out. We're seeing it virtually, and we have friends that are going there and taking pictures and showing us. So if you're from Japan and you're in Japan right now, go check it out. But yes, she's doing really good with her art. And she had a show in October in New York, on Long Island, and right now she's kind of burnt out from the whole exhibit thing, so she's going to take a little break and focus on doing stuff in the home here. She's got her own art studio that we built. Actually, we started building it before COVID in the backyard, and then COVID kind of allowed us to spend the time needed to finish it and to do stuff at home. So we've just been two homebodies working from home. I've got my business, I guess, is turning into a business. My TV show that I do, Interview with Ed, and I've been continuing to do episodes. And yeah, it's just been a fun. I know many parts of the world are suffering right now, but we've been just staying home and preparing, getting, like I said, as sustainable as possible.
Yeah, I can imagine. I follow you on Twitter, and from time to time I am reading your tweet. Yeah, I mean, I'm reading your tweets always, but from time to time I'm checking the YouTube videos that you post or the other stuff. And yeah, I would say it's quite interesting the way you look to the world and yeah, everything that is currently going on. What is also going on, Reuben, and probably you are bound by some kind of NDA, but I'm just gonna ask you, and if you don't want to answer, I will accept that. But you know, Street Fighter V is on its last part, and probably we're gonna have Street Fighter 6 in the future. I am hoping that Ken is in that game too, and if Ken is there, I'm hoping that you are willing again to voice him.
Well, I have not signed any NDAs, and as far as I know, I have not. Nobody's contacted me about that project, so I don't know. I don't know if Ken is going to be involved, or maybe he is and I'm not. There's a lot of unknowns there. So fingers crossed that I do get the call to reprise the role of Ken, because he's a character dear to my heart. As we've spoke before. Ken was my main when Street Fighter 2 first came out, and I was still in high school back then, and I mained Ken, and my backup was E Honda, and I would do the circuit in my area in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up, and we my friends and we would skip school even to go to
the arcade halls,
different arcades, and try to find. I remember we were like, we need good competition, because we would go and we would just our local areas. We were the kings.
That was in that time really easy. Not really easy, but there were no online gameplay. You had to play with your friends or with your family or the neighborhood. And yeah, if you were good, they were most of the time one of the best already there.
Yeah, pre-Nintendo even. So before it even came out on any home system, back in the day, we'd put our quarter up on the screen to put your place in line, which really had no. You just say that's my quarter, and then somebody else would say that's my quarter, and then you'd have these stack of quarters, on the screen, and it had nobody's names on it or anything, but that somebody would touch somebody else's quarter, like that's my quarter, and that would secure your place in line. And what I did with my friend David Sassavoth, he and I would main Ken, and he would go around, and then I would go around. We would go around. So we would tag team fighting other people. So, which I think was kind of good, because we had different strategies and different ways of playing. So by mixing it up, the opponent really couldn't figure it out, in the 2 rounds allocated to try to figure out the style of how we played. So
that is what we suffer these days as well. Like if you come across an opponent, then after you really have to download your opponent, but while you're trying to learn his style, it's already game over if you don't care, if you're not careful. I mean,
exactly. So that was like I said, Ken's been dear to my heart, because such fond memories as a kid. And then when I moved to Japan at the age of 19, I would go to the game centers around in Tokyo and Yokohama, and the competition was even fiercer there. I was like, wow, these guys are good here. Wow.
They live for that kind of games in Japan.
But I would do okay for a foreigner, and I would sometimes get a crowd would sometimes form, and they're like, man, this Gaijin, he's pretty strong. This is good. But again, Ken was my main, so never in a million years would I ever imagine I'd become the voice of Ken.
I can imagine that.
Such a random surprise. So he's been, the character Ken has been a part of my life really since high school, and just goes deeper and deeper. So I really do hope if Ken is in Street Fighter V to reprise the role would be an honor. But again, those aren't. I don't make those decisions. That's on Capcom's side.
Capcom, yes.
So
we can just
maybe,
stop Capcom to say, hey, take
the
Reuben
fans,
Langdon.
if they like the performance so far, and if they like Ken and the voice and me doing the voice, perhaps they could send reminders to Capcom that's the way they like things, and that would be a-okay on my book. If I got the call, I would for sure. I would never turn that down. That would be like I said, it's an honor to do the role, and there's no reason for me to turn it down unless it was some weird situations or weird. I don't know. I can't think of any reason why I would turn it down.
No, I mean you did a good job so far during Street Fighter 4 and 5. So yeah, if Ken is in the game, I don't think there is a reason to not pick you unless you have some kind of dispute with Capcom or anything like that. But I don't think that's the case. Hey, and
no, I don't know.
I was
so Capcom, if you are listening, we all want Reuben in the game.
Indeed.
End of story. Bring him in, or we're not playing.
Hey, speaking about speaking about your voice acting, Ken, Reuben, I was wondering last week, what was actually the hardest thing to do for you voicing Ken? I mean, what kind of his cries or shouts? What was the most difficult one?
Well, in the game, for games in general, fighting games, specifically fighting games, are just really brutal on the voice because you have a short amount of time to record a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, with fighting games, most of the stuff is screaming and yelling and fighting. You're at a heightened state. Yeah. So I remember. This was in the first recording for Street Fighter 4. We did the anime that went along with it. Oh, yeah. There was an anime series. And so we did all that first and got that hammered out. But it was a few days of recording. And as soon as we got into the game stuff, because I'm not at that time, I wasn't a seasoned voice actor. And not in practice, the voice is like a muscle that you have to train, and you can build it. And if you're doing lots of screams and things, you can build, the vocal cords get stronger as you stress them, just like any other muscle. And at that time, my vocal cords, I was always working out my body, and training and doing motion capture. And at that time, I would just come off of Resident Evil 5, doing the motion capture for Chris, as well as working on Avatar. So for me, it was all about physicality and physical stuff. And the voice was not something I had paid a ton of attention to. So when I went into recording, I got trashed. I lost my voice after even the first or second day of recording. And they were like, "Oh man, can you come back tomorrow?" I'm like, "We'll see if I even have a voice tomorrow." And then I think that we actually moved the schedule around a little bit because we had to allocate time for my voice to heal. Like I couldn't even speak the next day. It was gone. I couldn't even speak. Like I had my office, and my employees like, "What happened?" I'm like,
"What did I do? Did I crash it for good?"
Yeah, it was like trying to talk. I was, I had to whisper to everybody.
Sure.
So, yeah, sure. So it was brutal. And later for Street Fighter 5, I had a little more prep, and I had been a little more done a little more homework and training, and not just the physical aspects, but also the voice. So, but yeah, it's a lot of people think, "Oh, voiceover work, it's easy," and it's not. It can be very stressful. I was sweating in the booth, I hope full body meat sweats kind of like thing, from screaming, and so it's very. I think it burned a lot of calories just doing the voice work for Ken. for sure.
I can imagine. Well, and I can tell you, Reuben, I am not a voice actor at all, but I can tell you sometimes when I run on the stairs, for example, here in the house, then the last 2 or 3 steps I jump while I'm screaming, "Sure you can!" or something like that. So I'm also trying to imitate the characters in Street Fighter, but yeah, it's
Excellent.
not as good as you guys can do it. I mean, I'm a big fan of voice actors. I'm following a couple of them, a few of your colleagues in Street Fighter, and I'm always so impressed by how you guys are performing different styles, different characters. It's really an art. I mean, that you can do things like that with your voice.
I learned a lot. Pallison, who is the director for 4, really was awesome too. Because he really there's an art to directing and getting the performances and pulling them out.
Mm-hmm.
And Pallison Jaffe, who is the voice of Blanca, he was the director of 4.
Is he not doing also Aiden, or he is doing 2 characters, if I'm correct?
He might have been, later on. I mean, he's so talented. He's super talented. Mm-hmm. He's got so much. He's got quite the ear for the voice stuff.
Yeah.
And that's part of that's moving to the next stage. So if you're just on the voice side performing, there's a whole other aspect to being a director and then listening and finding, what works. And there was a lot of, sometimes, a section of the first, you do several takes on a performance, on a read, and maybe the first part of the first take and the second part or the third part of the second take. And then they do a lot of splicing and editing. And that's where the director really has that ear and can guide the technician to do that. And then you have to have an awesome technician that does all of the real-time editing and splicing. Yeah. And then they pack it up and they ship it to Capcom, and then Capcom does their magic as well. So there's a lot of layers to the the whole process.
So your first Tatsumaki Senpukyak was really not the one maybe that they finally used in the game. I mean, you probably has a couple of tries.
I had a couple takes, but because I have an advantage where I speak Japanese fluently, I lived in Japan. So for Tatsumaki Senpukyaku or Shoryuken, I have the pronunciation. I don't have issues with the pronunciation. I have pretty close to the original Japanese pronunciation. So typically with other voice actors, they were saying that when it came to screaming out some of the Japanese moves, that they would have to do way more takes than I would usually nail it on like 1 or 2. So I did have that advantage. It's because living in Japan for 5 years.
For 5 years, indeed.
Yeah.
Hey, but since you speak Japanese, I was wondering, many of the characters in Street Fighter V, when they wake up, they say Yotto. But Ken is saying Barayotto or something like that. What does that mean? I hope I pronounce it right, but what is the difference between Yotto or Barayotto?
I don't think there is much of a difference. It's more of just like what do you call it? Onomatopoeia kind of thing, a sound that is made from a movement that doesn't have a specific meaning. It's just like a cultural thing. It's like and then those sounds many of them may have been minor in the past, that not everybody does them, but because someone inserted it into an anime or into a TV show, and then people kind of almost subliminally brought them into their reality, and this is in Japanese culture, then they would become sort of a standard sound, when we like a sneeze, like a hachu, right?
Yeah. So indeed.
So those things kind of there's a lot of those in Japanese, actually. I would say more than in English, where there's sounds that become almost words, but don't really have any meaning. They're just sounds. So it's like a stretch. It's like you're getting ready to
get up
the,
or
the
something.
meaning. The meaning it would, which isn't even like a real meaning, and it's probably in no Japanese dictionary anywhere. But the meaning that typically you would associate that sound with getting up or a stretch, and they probably had Ken do the, bara yoto is just like bigger muscles moving, or some sort of.
So that he can flex his stomach muscles in order to stand up or something like that, or
yeah. Well, bara does mean stomach, so that could be where it came.
Oh really? Oh, that was a good
or
guess for me.
hara. You can say hara or bara. Sometimes it comes out as bara. Mostly it's hara, but when it comes to those kind of sound things, there's a lot of flexibility to how they're they don't have to be exact in the sense. You can play around with them, and in the culture, it's sort of accepted. It's not like mispronouncing a regular spoken word when you have those sort of achus or those kinds of sound words. There's a lot of liberty that can be taken in however you want to use it, and if it's in a game or a anime or any other
real life, maybe. I mean,
context, or even real life. Yeah, people are probably playing with those sounds all the time, and it's quite accepted.
Yeah, I see. Hey Reuben, it's wonderful to have you here on the stream, but my alarm on my phone just rang.
You gotta go. You gotta play some games.
I do, and I also have to give away some prizes during today's stream.
Do it.
And
this has actually gone much longer than I thought, but thank you for having me interrupt your program.
No, you're welcome. I was happily surprised with this, and between you and me, I know you are a busy man, but I would love to speak more with you if possible, and maybe we can play some games from time to time if you are up for it.
I'm gonna have to dust off the PlayStation. I think the last time I played it was when I played you.
Oh really? With Longbin, was it?
Yeah, that's my name on the PlayStation.
Yeah, indeed.
But yes, thank you. I will do some dusting, and I will do some tuning, and we'll get it going for sure.
Okay. Hey, we stay in touch. Thank you so much once again, Reuben Langdon for being here on the stream. And
happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Take care, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Goodbye. That was Reuben Langdon, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really nice to have him here on the stream. The voice actor of Ken Masters in Street Fighter. And I mean, I really didn't know that this was going to happen, so I was absolutely flabbergasted.
Happy birthday, Sven.
Absolutely flabbergasted to have Reuben Langdon here on the stream. Thank you so much once again for being here. It was great to talk with you.